You spent over a decade inside a building you were told was preparing you for life. You memorized. You repeated. You were tested. You were graded. You were ranked against other human beings as if your worth could be measured on a scale from A to F. And then you were released into the world and told you were ready. But ready for what exactly? Because if school was truly designed to make you think, the world should be full of people who question what they are told, challenge assumptions, and solve real problems from first principles. Instead, most people spend their lives waiting to be told what to do next. That is not an accident. In the 1840s, a Prussian education model began spreading across the Western world. It was not designed by philosophers interested in human potential. It was designed to solve an industrial problem. Factories needed workers. Workers needed to show up on time, follow instructions without questioning them, and defer to whoever was in charge. Schools were built to produce exactly that. The bell that ends your class is the same bell that ends a factory shift. The rows of desks facing a single authority figure mirror the factory floor. The punishment for speaking without permission, for thinking outside the assigned task, all of it trained a specific kind of human being, not a thinker, a complier. John Taylor Gatto spent 30 years as a New York City schoolteacher and won Teacher of the Year 3 times. Then he quit and wrote a book explaining why. He said school teaches 6 things: to stay in your place, to accept your ranking, to be indifferent to the world beyond the assignment, to be emotionally dependent on authority for approval, to have no genuine privacy in your own mind, and to understand that your future is conditional on how well you perform for the institution. That is not education. That is conditioning. Now think about what is never taught in school: how to manage money, how to start a business, how to think critically about what a government tells you, how to understand your own psychology, how to fail productively, how to build something from nothing. These are the skills that actually determine the quality of a human life, and they are almost entirely absent. Psychologist Peter Gray found something remarkable. When children are given freedom to direct their own learning, they develop deep curiosity and genuine mastery that formal schooling almost never produces. Because human beings are naturally learning machines, we do not need to be forced to learn. We need to be free to learn what genuinely matters to us. But a system designed to produce employees cannot afford independent thinkers. Curious people ask inconvenient questions. Self-directed people do not wait for instructions. Here is the part that should stop you entirely. The people who built the system your children attend did not send their own children there. The elite have always had a different education, one built around critical thinking, rhetoric, philosophy, and the development of independent judgment. One education produces leaders, the other produces followers, and they have always been kept carefully separate. Ken Robinson, whose TED Talk on education became the most watched in TED history, argued that schools are not failing. They are succeeding at exactly what they were designed to do. The problem is that what they were designed to do no longer serves the human beings inside them. So what do? First, separate the institution from the learning. The building does not own your mind. The grade does not measure your intelligence. The certificate does not determine your worth. Second, become a student of what the system never taught you. Study how money works. Study psychology. Study logic. Study history from multiple perspectives, not just the version that flatters whoever wrote the curriculum. Third, teach the children around you to ask why. Why is this true? Who decided this? Who benefits from me believing this? What would I think if nobody had told me what to think? Because the most dangerous thing a human being can develop is not ambition or talent or even courage. It is the habit of thinking for themselves. You spent over a decade inside a building you were told was preparing you for life. The real preparation begins the moment you start questioning what happened in there.